So there we go. We're on. It's Super League Raw Weekly as per usual. It's a Wednesday night. It's 8:00. Plenty to be getting through. We've already got people coming in. Robert Davies, the first in. Hello, Robert Davies. How are you, sir? Welcome
Good evening,
to another fun-filled night of Super League debate. That's what it's all about. Of course, get involved. Add your comments into the chat, and we will give you a shout out. And we'll be very, very keen to know what it is that your thoughts are around all things Super League. How are you, Greg? You well?
All right, mate. Thank you very much. Yourself?
Yes, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Be a nice start to just, for those who didn't see it, this, of course, was not televised live. We played the French national anthem this time last week. But this week, seeing the Catalan players, joy on the faces, great for all the rugby league fans over in Perpignan to see the team get the shield. A lot of happy faces. Actually, the hubcap this year looks pretty nice. Actually, I was quite impressed with the shield, has to be said. It's getting better.
Yeah. A great week for French rugby. Toulouse top their league as well.
Yeah.
Although that news hasn't pleased some people in Lee.
No, absolutely.
I'm sure we'll talk about that later on. But you know,
sure. Do you know what? People still probably don't believe the fact that we do not plan this, but yes, we will. We will absolutely talk about that as we go through it, without question. So, okay, we'll kick off. What we'll do this week, we'll start with a bit of news. We'll do things a little bit differently. And the first bit of news, good news, is that on Monday, October the 4th at 8:00, the Man of Steel Awards will be on Sky. That'd be nice.
Yeah, televised live. Is that the first time for quite some time, I think?
I think it probably is. So looking forward to seeing that on the 4th. Yeah. Hello to Matthew Heath and Paul Prince. They're also with us. Nice to see you guys. So yeah, good that that's happening. Lee, you mentioned Lee, so we may as well do a bit on Lee. First of all, congratulations to Ryan Braley at the weekend. His hat-trick of tries now puts him as the second highest try scorer for the Lee Centurions in their history, second only to Mick Martin. So quite
what a player he was as well. What a player Mick Martin was, So yeah. I mean, he's been around a few teams. I think he went to Toronto, didn't he, Braley?
He did for a period, but predominantly he has been at Lee, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy that, remember when Ashton Sims was mic'd up for the cup game? Right. And Ashton Sims was full of praise for him, telling me he had a good engine, he was a good player. So I always thought he might end up at somewhere like Wigan or maybe even Warrington. But fair play to him, been loyal to Lee for most of his career. So and some of those tries were almost my try of the week. So,
Well, we'll come on.
One especially.
Yeah, we'll obviously we'll come on to try the week, but in terms of Lee as well, Nathan Mason on his way to Huddersfield from Lee for the 2022 season. But you mentioned it, so we may as well do it now. You're absolutely right. Mr. Beaumont, we like Derek Beaumont here at Super League Raw.
We don't like his shirts. We don't like his shirts, but we like his passion for the game.
Yeah, and this particular ensemble, even though it's D&G, probably not one of his best. But anyway, that's by the by, Derek. But this is what he said this week. If you look at it from Mark Campbell's point of view as well, Featherstone, is he getting a fair fight? I don't believe he is. Toulouse haven't played all their games. They've not played all of their home games. They've not had to do the travelling home and away. You don't get the same amount of injuries, suspensions, fatigue. They're not endured the same season. It's far from fair. So I'm not saying they shouldn't promote anyone. I just think that legally there's a challenge. If Toulouse get promoted, I think legally there's a challenge. If Lee get relegated, there's a challenge. So what he's almost suggesting there is that it should be Lee staying up or Featherstone coming up as opposed to Toulouse, because to be fair, Toulouse have not played enough games. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it kind of sums up what a strange season this has been. There were accusations flying around a few weeks ago that maybe Catalan were starting to pick and choose their games. I don't think that was the case. Although it was strange that it was 4 non-playing staff that led to the cancellation of the Warrington game.
To be fair, though, Catalan have played over 20 games.
Yeah, they played 21-22 game, haven't they?
Yeah. Whereas to lose, it's a different story, isn't it?
Yeah. He's got a point. I've been thinking about this a lot since he came out. He has got a point.
Yeah.
But at what point does that point just become sour grapes? And he's got to be careful that it doesn't come across as sour grapes. I'm sure it's not, and I'm sure he thinks he's got a good case. But we all kind of knew that the kind of that this season might not be a level playing field as regards some games being cancelled.
I get that, mate, but I think from a Lee perspective, Lee going down, I think for me personally, it's more of a Featherstone question. Featherstone have played 20 games this season to lose his 13, and they've won 19 of them. So Featherstone have had a phenomenal season. When you look at Halifax in third, I was always
under the impression that it was a minimum of 18 games or that you had to play.
Well,
I get his point. I do get his point. But like I say, you've got to be careful that it's not just coming across as him spitting his dummy out because Lee have gone down. I feel sorry for Lee. I really do, because they were kind of thrown into Super League at last minute because of Toronto.
Yeah.
But then there's the whole talking of the franchises being brought back in, where you get 3 years.
Yeah.
Of not being relegated. Is that good for the game? Is non-relegation good for the game? It works in Australia, but that's the way it's always been in Australia, as far as I'm aware. I think that jeopardy of relegation does make for a better competition.
Personally. Well, traditionally, how we've sport in this country has been, isn't it? But anyway, it's an interesting one. I think he's right to point it out. I certainly feel for Featherstone. I think Lee have known right from the get-go that, if they didn't come up to scratch this year, they were going to get relegated. Featherstone, on the other hand, they knew that if they got their act together this year, they could be promoted. And the fact that they played 7 games more than Toulouse.
That's the bit that doesn't, sit right. The fact that how can they win 19 out of 20 games and might miss out on promotion?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tricky one. You can argue. I'm trying to see it from both sides on this one. It's a tricky one. I can see Derek Bowman's point. I can see why Featherstone are absolutely sick to the back teeth about it. But then we did kind of know that this might be the situation that would arise out of a season like this. Same as last season. We've had a difficult. As you don't need me to remind anyone, we've had a difficult couple of years. And Derek Bowman maybe should have left it to Featherstone to kind of cut to the Featherstone chairman to comment. It does smack. He's got to be careful, as I said, that what he says doesn't come across as sour grapes. We love Derek Bowman on this podcast because of his enthusiasm, his passion for the game, and his support of Lee. Just it might have been better for him to let Featherstone come forward with the rather than he be the champion of it. Maybe I don't. That's my take on it. That's my take on it.
Yeah, get involved.
I'd like to know what Lee fans think.
Yeah,
and if any Featherstone fans are watching, what they think.
Absolutely. Castleford. Obviously, Michael Shenton has said this week that he's going to retire. Not as much silverware as perhaps, when he went to St. Helens, of course, quite a barren spell at that point in his career. I remember in the final him breaking his arm. But he has represented the Super League Dream Team on 3 occasions, back-to-back 14, 15, 17. He's been a very good seasoned professional over the years. We wish Michael Shenton well. And Ollie Holmes has played his last game.
Yes, he has. He'll be coming to Warrington. That's a big blow for Castleford losing Oliver Holmes. He's he's a solid performer. Unfortunately, Michael Shenton you're right. He's had a lengthy career. Sky described him a one club man.
Yeah,
forgetting that he'd been at Saints for a season.
Anyway,
those great guys at Sky. Good luck to the guy.
Absolutely.
Good luck to Mr. Shenton. There's been a lot of injuries. Greg Minikin has played his last game for quite some time.
And Matt Davis as well. Matt Davis is out at Warrington.
Matt Davis, so
he's
played his last game of the season.
Yeah.
So injuries might be coming at the wrong time for a couple of clubs.
Possibly.
I bet some clubs have had injuries at the start of the season.
Yeah.
And are getting everybody back fit now. Some teams have been relatively injury free. Might be paying the price for that now. We should
Just going back to that Toulouse bit, Andrew King, good afternoon, good evening, Andrew. Andrew just putting a comment in here that it's his understanding that Toulouse have played their games away, but it's all down to the fact that, the part-time teams won't travel to France. And that's probably a really good point, Andrew. However, the same way that the New Zealand Warriors have actually decamped into Australia for the NRL season, for me, there must have been a workaround there. I just think 7 games is a lot of games. And of course, nobody can say with any degree of certainty. One thing is for certain, Featherstone have played 20 and won 19. Of the remaining 7 games to catch up, would Toulouse have won all 7? Now, they may have done because they've got a good squad in that division. But yeah, thanks for getting involved. Really good to hear your views on that.
It's a very fair point.
It is.
But like you say, that we had several rounds at Headingley and at St Helens and at Warrington earlier in the season where all the teams played at the ground. Like I say, it's been a difficult few seasons, couple of seasons.
Absolutely.
Who's right, who's wrong?
So, end of the season is coming, and all the clubs are going to start doing the end of season player of the years. A lot of them are in the schedule for next week. However, Wakefield have gone early, and Wakefield, their results. Everybody was probably thinking Westerman. Westerman did get the Coaches Player of the Year award. However, Jay Pitts picked up a hat trick. He picked up the Fans Player of the Year. He picked up the Players Player of the Year, and he also picked up the Wakefield Trinity Johnny Thompson Man of Steel Award for 2021. So 3 awards for Jay Pitts, and he has had a great season. There's no question about that. So what I've done is just quickly, I thought I'd, just compile a couple of stats on Jay Pitts, just so we can see what all of that is about when I find them. There they are. So we'll just pop those up for people to see. And my view on this is always, in the same. Listen to the fans. They watch the team week in, week out. They know how their players are playing.
Yeah.
If they say that Jay Pitts is their player of the year, who is anybody to argue with that?
I think he's been one of the standout performers for Wakefield this season, from what I've seen of him.
Yeah,
which obviously isn't as much as the Wakefield fans. But yeah, 730 tackles. That's pretty good average per game.
Yeah.
I thought he'd score more tries than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he scored a couple of good tries.
Yeah.
I thought he'd scored a few more tries than that. But I mean, he has been one of the outstanding performers in what has been a disappointing season for Wakefield.
Wakefield, obviously had a bit of resurgence last month from the Willie poaching, but I think the reason why, I think all rugby league fans, as much as we like the superstar tries and all that goes with it, I think all rugby league fans do enjoy players who defend well, and I think that Jay Pitt 730 tackles this year. He's certainly done a shift.
He's put himself about a bit.
Yeah, well done to Jay Pitt. So well worth.
Yeah, I wonder why did they go? Why did they go a couple of weeks early? Was there any reason behind that?
Well, probably because the season's over. Sorry, Wakefield fans, but if the question's going to get asked,
that was harsh, sir.
A bit harsh, but I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. But anyway, Jay Pitts walks away with it. And then the other bit of news before we get into some other stuff, you'll have seen this. What's your thoughts on this, Greg? A rebranding at Hull KR.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with the original brand.
Well, I mean, this Tony Smith. Now, I mean, I'm not saying this is Tony Smith at all in terms of ideas before Hull KR fans go down my throat. I've been really impressed with Hull KR both on and off the field this year. I think this again is a masterstroke. So not only are they strengthening on the field, got a really good chance of playoff of getting into the semi-final of the playoffs. But equally, this bit of rebranding, I remember when Warrington did theirs, they brought the wire back, which of course all Warrington fans, even when it was Warrington Wolves, called Warrington the Wire. And Hull KR are the Robins. That's what they are. So the fact that they've done this, did the whole marketing bit, they're up in the game off the field, on the field, had a great season, great coach, making good acquisitions for next year. I just think this is another step forward for Hull KR. I think this is a real positive.
Well, I just didn't say. I don't know. I'm on the fence on this one. I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to things like that. Call me old-fashioned. But I remember when Warrington rebranded and came up with the Primrose and Blue Badger that was supposed to be a wolf. It didn't sit well. I can see why they've done it. I just, and very clever as you say. The rebrand will mean more merchandise is being sold out of the club shop. So that's a little bit cynical. You might argue, but we need to make as much money as we can. And pump it back into the clubs again after the last couple of seasons. Yeah, I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I can see why they've done it. I'm not particularly impressed with it. I'm being honest. Well, there you go. Difference of opinion.
Exactly. I think what we're saying here is the split opinion, which I'm sure the split opinion in the Hull KR ranks.
I'm sure Hull KR fans. I read something on the forum on the Hull KR forum, and it was split right down the middle. Some liking it, some absolutely hating it. Yeah. And these things, I as I just said, I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to stuff like that. Yeah. There'll be Hull KR fans who are traditionalists, and it's obviously going for that younger audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, who's right, who's wrong?
Who's right, who's wrong?
I just don't.
And of course,
I don't think I like it myself, though.
Will Dagger is going to stay on for another couple of years. Good news for KR there as well. Yeah. So, like I say, on the field, building nicely. And of course, talking finally of another acquisition that's happened in the last few hours, last 24 hours. St Helens bringing Joey Lussick back from the Parramatta Eels, obviously formerly of Salford. Yes. He's going to come back on a 3-year deal from 2022. Clearly, St Helens starting to plan for life without Roby there, I would say.
I would say. Even though he's signed on for another year, so that might, that this young half-back pairing that they've got, Dodds and Wellesby, they might see Dodds as more of a standoff or scrum half than a hooker. Yeah, bringing Lussick in, because I think probably Lussick will probably be the starting hooker and bring Roby off the bench. Yeah, I would have thought. But yeah, he always was wanting a lot of trouble with Joey Lussick. Good player, got a lot of time for him. He's done well down under.
Absolutely. Well, he's played. I mean, he hasn't played enough really for Parramatta. Obviously, an opportunity for him to come back, but he's got
not let himself down. Yeah, he's a good player.
Right. So last week, I think no better place to start really than the St Helens Leeds game. I think this 40 points to 6, the way of St Helens. Couple of things in this game, some good tries in this game. The Wellesby try, poor defending, but fair play, he took it well.
What I was going to say about this game, Leeds defending in that first half was absolutely shocking. I don't think I've ever seen a worse defensive performance in 40 minutes than that first 40 minutes against Saints. It was appalling.
Well, Tony Smith come out. I don't know if you heard this. Tony Smith's come out and said that he wouldn't be surprised if Leeds went all the way. On that showing, if I'm a Leeds fan, I'm very concerned because they were in great form. They've been playing some good rugby. We said last week, Saints off the back of the Catalan game were probably a wounded animal. They were going to come big, and they did come big on the day. And for me, going into the Hull KR game this week, again we'll talk about a bit later. I thought Leeds were poor. I mean, we take the mickey quite a lot in terms of big Alex Walmsley, but my God, what a performance.
That, if we're talking about highlight of the week, his performance was my highlight of the week. There was no, I mean, that was almost the perfect prop forward performance from Alex Walmsley. Yeah, you can say that Leeds weren't on it defensively, but my God, he was a beast. That was
Well, I mean,
probably one of the best performances I've seen at prop since Les Boyd was at Warrington in the 80s. That was unbelievable. It was a perfect prop performance.
I mean, these are his stats for the year. You know, he's played 19 out of 20 games for St. Helens. He scored 5 tries from prop, good effort. Clean breaks as a prop, 9. I mean, I think he had 4 in that game alone. But I mean, look at the meters, 2,663. Yeah. Clearly, you know, by a million miles, the most meters as a prop forward. You know, over 8 meters, 73 tackle busts in it, and not just that. You know, you wonder where he'd get the energy from to do 422 tackles on top of that. I mean, the guy's a machine, isn't he? Absolutely.
I mean, we've sang his praises all season.
Yeah.
But you know, that was. You just had to sit back and applaud that performance from Alex Walmsley. Yeah. It was, as I say, as near perfect a prop forward performance as I've seen in, 30 odd years. You know, since Les Boyd played Kurt Sorensen off the park.
Yeah.
At Wilderspool one horrible Boxing Day afternoon. You know, it was in the good old days. But it's magnificent performance. You've got to question Leeds' defence, but you know, and you know, when Walmsley went off, Leeds scored their try.
Yeah, I mean, I remember after the Catalan game, I saw on a few St. Helens forums that, you know, they weren't being humble or gracious for the Catalan Dragons comeback and winning that for me. So, you know, I'm going to call it straight here. St. Helens were that good. So, and I think it's important that we say that because, you know, when we give comment on here, we try and be as neutral and as fair as possible. Catalan, yes, you could argue that Catalan shouldn't have come back with 7 minutes to go like they did. And of course, St. Helens would have contributed to that in terms of game management. But sometimes there's momentum, sometimes sport actually does that. So the fact that I think this week we're saying, look, St. Helens on that performance, certainly grand finalists. Based on what we saw against Leeds, because Leeds, you know, were going into that game certainly no slouch. Not heard anything on Sione Matautia. Obviously, he went off with a knock. I mean, I know Coote's going to be banned for a game this week, but have you heard anything on Sione Matautia?
No, I've not. I was reading through the rugby league press today and going on websites and stuff. I've not heard anything.
No.
So but you got to give praise. You know, like I say, Leeds' defence wasn't as it should be, but Saints were very, very good.
Yeah.
And you know, Coote, he's not really going to be a miss for this last game, is he?
No.
They're guaranteed second place. So, you know.
Well, in terms of St. Helens, they're my team of the week. They are my team of the week this week. I thought that I didn't expect that to be as comprehensive as it actually was. I thought they showed the real quality against Leeds.
Yeah. I had real trouble this week picking team of the week because it was a strange week.
Yeah.
You know, lots of teams chose to rest players or play players out of position. I mean, we had Blake Austin in the second row. Salford could and possibly should have beaten Warrington. Hull KR's come back against Casper, Lee winning. Huddersfield going to Catalan and winning. So, you know, I found it, and Saints was a brilliant performance. I found it really difficult this week to kind of to pick a team of the week. I'm going to go with Hull KR because of the all-round performance. You're right about Saints being magnificent. I think Leeds contribute a little bit to that. But the Hull KR, to watch it again because I fell asleep. First time of asking. Let's not go there. I swung towards Hull KR because of their overall performance. You know, I found it. I could have gone with Lee for that. A great performance from Lee. I could have gone to Huddersfield, but obviously Catalan were they in the right frame of mind? Players missing, etc. So I went for Hull KR.
Yeah, Catalan had quite a few out as well. But no, it's funny actually because that's the next game. You know, Hull KR 26, Castleford 19. Some good tries in this one. You know, Mickey Lewis's was a good one. I thought he took his particularly well. Levels try was easy on the eye as well.
It was his second try. It was a cracking try.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed this week, a lot of tries were either from bursts down the middle by forwards with somebody coming up in support, or kicks across the defence. Quite a lot of similar tries scored this week. If you watch them back. But Niall Levels was a great try. Lewis's was a great try.
Massive win for KR. For me, if I'm Wigan Warriors, because there's no doubt about it. We'll get on to Hull KR Leeds later, but if I'm Wigan and I'm looking at that, because Warrington are going to play who's sixth, and that looks like it's going to be it's either going to be Leeds or it's going to be it could be any three, couldn't it? If Castleford beat us. But in terms of if I'm Warrington or I am Wigan, Hull KR would be the team I wouldn't want to face.
I'm really concerned about whichever team we play as a Warrington fan. And I think you're right. I think Wigan will be concerned because they're not firing on all cylinders at this moment in time.
No.
But as a Warrington fan, I'd be interested to hear what other Warrington fans think about this.
Yeah.
I'm really concerned. I think we've probably got the three toughest deals. We've got Castleford. We could have Castleford with all that entails with our ex-coach wanting to go out on a high and prove a point. Hull KR, another ex-coach who's got them firing.
Yeah.
And Leeds, who, despite that performance against Saints, Leeds who always managed to turn it on. And again, another ex-coach who these coaches know how we play, how we tick.
Yeah.
I'm concerned as a Warrington fan that finishing third was quite possibly the worst possible result for us due to who will play.
Well, time will tell on that one, won't it?
It will. But as I say, I'll be interested to see what other Warrington fans think about it. Maybe I'm being unduly pessimistic, or
we might have a few
Warrington
watching.
fans think the same thing.
Yeah, we might have a few watching. So by all means, get involved. Let us know what your thoughts are.
Be banned from the Halliwell Jones next time round.
Possibly. The next game was the Catalan Dragons Huddersfield Giants game. Catalan 18, Huddersfield 30. Not a good Catalan team, but certainly not a full strength Catalan team. Good to see Josh Jones on the score sheet. He's had a stellar season, Josh Jones. My try of the week was in this game. I thought the Ashell Bot try was very, very good indeed.
Right. We've done it again. My try of the week was Ashell Bolt's. It was very similar, I think, to Braley's try for Lee, but he still needed scoring. I think he had defenders on him, and he still managed to get over the line. And Ashell Bolt was believe it or not, my try of the week this week.
Outstanding. a bit of honesty there. Well, what should it? Honesty. Yeah, it's nice to see us both agreeing on it. Great.
Great
it's
happening too often these days, mate. I'm getting a bit worried.
No, and do you know what we said as well? And this probably leads into a moment of the week, because when we were debating the predictions last week, we spoke about Catalan potentially resting some players. Was it an opening for Huddersfield? Equally, I also talked about the Lee Wakefield game. If Lee are going to win a second game, then perhaps this is the one. My moment of the week was our friend from Bradford who had the conviction to actually back Lee and get 5 points, because he got it on the nose. Did Harry Peters of Bradford Bulls? I thought, well, fair play to him, because we were debating it. He had the conviction to go for one of them. Well,
fair play.
Yeah.
And congratulations. So that's probably see me bottom of the leaderboard now.
Well, yeah.
If you can be bottom of a leaderboard.
We will get there. Well, before we do, you were at the Warrington game. Yeah, you were at the Warrington game. Obviously, Warrington 20, Salford 19. George Williams won it twice for Warrington in the game in terms of his drop goals. A real tit-for-tat game. What was it like?
Strange one. Salford could have won. It. Warrington were out of sorts. They had a lot of players missing. They had players out of position. First time I've ever seen a drop goal disallowed for obstruction. That's a new one on me. But it was a disjointed game. There's no flow to it. It's a bit boring, if I'm being honest. Atmosphere wasn't great.
Right.
It had a real kind of end of season, nothing to play for kind of vibe to it. Yeah. It it was just
odd.
Yeah,
But,
it was. I mean, we said farewell to some players and some coaches at the end, which was interesting with Libre saying it's not goodbye, it's au revoir.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect players at some point to come back.
Yeah, that was quite a telling comment.
Yeah.
Interesting that Jason Clark isn't amongst those who was saying goodbye to the club.
Yeah, there's been no announcement from Warrington.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing for me,
for a long time has been that he's going back.
Yeah, but absolutely. But you're right. The fact that he hasn't said goodbye, and Warrington are normally pretty on the ball with things like that. But Ken Seo, I mean, Ken Seo in the last 3 games scored 4 against Huddersfield, against Hull. He got 1 against Leeds. He got 2 against the Wire. 7 tries in 3 games. And actually, he's out of contract at the end of the season. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but Hull Live today, I think it was, published the players who are off contract for the 2022 season. And in terms of what talent is out there, you think of Lee. If Lee were given the green light to stay up, or if Featherstone came up, the players that are available. What I did is I looked at who was available at the end of the season on a free, and I picked a 13 of available talent out of that pool. And I'll tell you what, Greg, if I'm a Lee, or if I'm a Featherstone, this team would be incredibly competitive. So I'm just going to pop this up on the screen. This is the team I picked out of the players that were available. Quinlan fullback, who I think has had a great season for Hull KR. On the wings, Luke Briscoe, Ken Seo. Centres, there's not an awful lot to go around, but Joe Rundle's there from Wakefield and Junior South.
Yeah.
Then you've got a young, youthful, energetic halfback partnership of Ben McNamara and McClelland. And then look at the pack in terms of experience. Kyle Amor, Michael McAlorum, Aquala, Paulie, Sonny Lefeo, who we know, I think he's probably going to be announced as going to Catalan, and Jason Clark. I mean, that team would be competitive.
It would.
Would it?
I mean, Quinlan's as you say, Aquala, I think, flatters to deceive at times. But Ken Seo, I mean, with his 2 tries, we handed him 1 on the plate. But that's as you say, there's some good players out there available on a free. That probably wouldn't take up a lot of salary cap as well.
No,
thinking of the youngsters especially.
No.
Quinlan, what is Quinlan? 32, 33?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, but again, you look around
Jason
that
Clark's
team,
34, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of age in there, a lot of experience. But then, providing that you can get them motivated, I think a team, like a Lee. I mean, if they were available this time last year, would Salford have had a problem? Question mark. That's another story. But yeah, interesting. I just thought I'd throw that up. It's
it's an interesting debate to have, isn't it? The players that are off contract. I'm sure there's many more as well. In fact, there are many more. But there's some players to be picked up there. I'm surprised Ken Seo hasn't been snapped up, to be honest.
Well, I think he will be. I mean, he's the leading try scorer in Super League in what is, let's be fair, has been a very average team this year. So, I mean, he's proved his worth. Wouldn't be surprised to see him turn up somewhere.
Surprised at Ben McNamara I think he'll be staying put. I would have thought Ben McNamara.
Yeah, you'd think so. Call me cynical as well. I'm sure if he was struggling for a club, he'd end up in Catalan somewhere. But that's call me cynical.
Well, they've got our friend Mr. Morg, who's they can't keep old Arthur on the back burner for much longer. I wouldn't have thought he's going to get snapped up by another Super League team. He's a great player. I think Catalan have got to manage that situation very carefully with Arthur Morg.
Wouldn't disagree with that.
He's impressed me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Catalan to a man this season have really played well.
Unless of course with McAlorum being out of contract, they may see him as a replacement for McAlorum. Although I think he's probably a bit too small for Hooker, but Yeah.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what they're thinking?
Who knows? It's going to be interesting. Obviously, like I say, I think it's a badly kept secret that San Lafeo is going to be ending up over there.
Catalan.
At Catalan next year. Anyway, back to last week. Wigan Warriors managing to get themselves a 10-0 win, 0-0 at half time. I thought there was something wrong with the updates. I couldn't believe it. 0-0 at half time.
They had that. I think there was some controversy over a try they had disallowed in the first half.
Actually, speaking of controversy, it would be amiss of us not to mention the try where Kenny Dowell clearly knocked on in that Castleford game. You know that.
I meant to mention that when I was discussing the game. Man, come on! That's just, you know,
it was poor, wasn't it? It was poor. How that doesn't go up, I don't know.
There's nothing you can say, is there, about that? It's just poor all round, and we don't like to.
Well, the interesting thing
to jump
on
referees' backs, but that should have, you know. Go on, sorry, I'm prattling.
I don't know if you saw it, but when that try went over, one of the Castleford players went to the referee and really got in his ear. And I hope I'm wrong when I say this, but was that the reason it didn't go up? Was that a moment of, I'm the referee here, I'm going to give it? Because for me, I mean, it was clearly a knock on. It was a shocker.
That shouldn't be in the referee's mindset that he's going to give a decision purely because the referee he's taken a, you know, he's had a mouthful from a player.
But you expect better at this stage of the season where winning and losing now really truly matters, especially in that game as well.
They seem to send tries up, clear tries, and clear no tries. They seem to be sending them up to the video ref, and then come on, there's not a lot we can say about that that can make it any better. It was poor decision making all around.
I'm delighted.
But back to Wigan.
I'm delighted to say Graham Parrish is with us again. Graham has been a big supporter of us since we started doing this. He's always about on a Wednesday. Good to see you, Graham, as always. Wigan 10. Big win that for Wigan. Obviously, that absolutely assured them a third.
After being nilled for a couple of halves of rugby, they managed to nil Warrington and Hull in 3 halves of rugby. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. But was it a classic arm wrestle? I don't know. Maybe if somebody was at the game can let us know. Was it a classic arm wrestle, or was it just a poor game? I don't know.
What I would say is there was a moment of genius. I thought the Hardacre try was again Hardacre showed his quality.
The kick through.
Lovely, the kick through. Lovely.
That almost again was my try of the week. That was in the top 3 with Braley and Ashel Bolt. Hardacres was top 3. Yeah, it's a great try. But from suddenly not being able to score for Toffee and leaking tries, they've turned it round in the last 120 minutes. Good coaching. Is that good coaching, or is it the players deciding that?
I don't know.
Probably never know.
I think you know there's a lot of Hull FC people on the fans forum, and you know obviously we had Joe with us the other week, who's Hull FC.
Yeah.
And the rumor has it there is a lot. It feels like again Hull FC people who are closer to the club could tell me. It feels like Hodgson is getting the backing of the club, and I'm hearing coming out of Hull FC that some big profile players they're trying to move them on. We've spoke about this a couple of times, so it just doesn't seem right. Be interesting to see who the goings are at Hull FC this winter, because clearly
it would be.
They always seem to get off to a great start, and then they just seem to fade.
Maybe some big personalities might be out of the door.
Well, I think that certainly will be the case. And then finally, well done, Lee. Lee 26, Wakefield 18. Fitting that Lee sign off with a win at home for all of those loyal supporters who have supported them through thick and thin this season. Well done. Really on the day, absolutely outstanding. Had a belting game, hat-trick of tries, obviously also kicked 3 goals in the game. And actually, you know, an unknown quantity, but Sam Stone as well in second row, having a really good game. Really good game for Lee.
Yeah, and Lee came back in that one as well. As I say, it's really difficult to pick team of the week this week because of team selections, etc. But yeah, they were up there. Yeah, you've got to say they've given the fans something to smile about at last. A little bit too late, maybe. But yeah, from a couple of weeks ago, looking like they weren't going to win a game.
Yeah,
they've won a couple now, so it'll sit better with their fans, I think. Absolutely. And as I say, unfortunate that the whole situation around Lee has been unfortunate this season with the collapse of Toronto and being, last minute included in Super League, not having the pre-season prep, etc.
No,
I'm sure they'll be back. I'm sure. Back in the future.
Absolutely. They've got a good owner, and he'll do everything he can, I'm sure, to get them back.
Yeah.
I don't know if people have seen this. I posted this on our fans forum this week that you can now select your own dream team on the Super League website. Great little thing, this. Really like this one. And that's exactly what I did. So yeah, if you go on to the Super League Dream Team, you can start to select who's caught your eye this year. I did. I made the decision to go first and to let people know who my team of the year was. Mine was the one on the left. Got a bit of a pasting for Chris Hill being in there. But Chris Hill has had a phenomenal season for Warrington. No surprises, I don't think, in any of the other positions. Maybe not. But I'll tell you what I found really interesting. Go and do this. Please, everybody who's watching this, go and do this.
I'm going to do it next week.
Yeah, upload it. Yeah. Let's have a look at them because it does get debate. But if you forgive me, Greg, I'm just gonna go on one here for a minute.
Okay, go on then. I'll let you rant.
Here we go. It's not a rant. So here's the interesting thing. We've had a couple of our fans forum members do this already. The one on the right is Mark Robinson, who has picked his own team. Interested in the same halfbacks. I think the back line, with the exception, he's put Toby King in there instead of Mamo. As Warrington fans, Greg, would you agree with me? Mamo's been better than King this season.
I think he has. More dynamic, certainly. Absolutely more dynamic.
No surprising that Wellesby's in there. I think Wellesby's had a stellar season. James Bentley in there, who I think he might be a Saints fan, this guy, because Bentley's been injured for quite a long part of the season.
He's missed a fair bit of the season, Bentley, hasn't he?
And Morgan Knowles as well. Anyway, we move on to the next two. Mark Martin, he's the one on the left. Again, no real surprises in the pack. Ben Curry in there. But again, Morgan Knowles, is in there. Percival is in there. So again, a bit of a St. Helens contingent in there. But again, I just want to draw your attention to Morgan Knowles. Then we go on to Jordan Quintals. Again, Walmsley, absolute mainstay. No issues with Sate in there. Daz Clark, Kai Pearce-Paul, we've been impressed with him this season for Wigan in his breakthrough year. Hastings and Drinkwater, Maloney Drinkwater, could be a toss-up. Hastings, I don't know. Again,
I think Hastings has blown hot and cold. Hastings has blown hot and cold for me this season.
But again, I'll just draw your attention to Morgan Knowles. I'm just drawing your attention to Morgan Knowles.
Have you got a point to make about Morgan Knowles?
I've got a point to make in a moment, and St. Helens fans are already sharpening their knives, I'm sure, getting ready for whatever it is that I'm going to be saying about Morgan Knowles. Now, an interesting thing here, and I just need to go and find it. The Yorkshire Post, their sports writers have done this. They've picked their Super League dream team. They've actually done it themselves. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to share that with you as well. So, so the Yorkshire Post. Let me just share this one with you. Just get it up so you can see it. They've done exactly the same. Oh, in a minute, you're going to see us still. There you are. Okay, so this was their journalists, and I don't want to dwell on this, but here's the first one. Cruz Lehman in there, Walmsley still. Lynette and McMeekin. Lynette's had a great season, no issues there. Similar. Langy finds his way in this one. Just want to draw your attention, Morgan Knowles. We then move down to the next one. Cassiano, Leeming, Walmsley again, no issues there. Maloney, Drinkwater, completely Catalan. Kenny Dalmake, don't know where Adam Swift came from. That's Barmy, but anyway.
Yorkshire Evening Post.
Morgan Knowles. We then move on. Now Luke Yates comes into it, which is interesting. Couple went for Luke Yates, and then Morgan Knowles reappears. Now, look, let me just, before Saints fans start getting a bit leery here, right? Morgan Knowles is without question the best number 13 in Super League on his day. No arguing. Not at all. Okay. I've got no arguing with that. However, Morgan Knowles has played 13 games for St. Helens this season, he has been out injured. Okay.
Yeah.
And the danger here, and I'm actually going to say that I probably got Westerman wrong. I'm a big fan of Joe Westerman this season. And maybe, and it's only through being so riled up over the Knowles selection. And I'd pray to God he doesn't make the dream team for this reason, because he's only played 13 out of 20.
You know he's going to be there, Dave.
I just thought to myself, right, I need to look into this. So here we go. I like a bit of analysis.
Do you know who mine?
Well, hang on, let me do this. Let me do this.
Go on.
So as you can see, Morgan Knowles, 13 out of 20. Now, there's no question he's he scored 4 tries, scored the most tries of them all. Great, lovely. Yeah. But actually, I've got Westerman wrong. Yates has played it loose forward more times with the Dragons this year than he has at prop. In fact, he's been loose forward pretty much all year. He's played 18 games. Westerman's only played 16. If you actually go to the side here, look at the tackle count. 737 plays 377. It's not even close. Yeah. 61 carries, plays 243. And don't get me wrong, Yates is by definition a prop. He's going to get through some. Whereas, Knowles is a bit more flair. So I get that and I understand that. Tackle bus 40 plays 32. And the reason I wanted to draw attention to this is, please God, we shouldn't be picking a dream team based on who is the best player. There's no argument. Morgan Knowles at 13 is the best number 13 in Super League on his day. There's no argument. But this is based on the 2021 season. He is not, or should not, be number 13 in a Super League dream team this year. It just shouldn't happen. Over to you, Greg. Am I going mad?
I will throw another name in there. Gudemond from Catalan.
Thank you. Say that, mate.
Gudemond from Catalan.
Yes.
Had a great season, at least. This is the danger that I think I've spoke about when Sky select the man of the match. Yeah. They watch the name, not the game, is a kind of little phrase that I came up with. So we kind of tend to get the same people getting the man of the match on Sky week in, week out. Because for example, the Saints Catalan game, they talked up Wellesby. He had a great game, but they talked up Wellesby something chronic. You would have thought there wasn't another. There were no other players on the pitch apart from Wellesby. They talked him. He's a great player. I've got no argument with the fact that Wellesby is and is going to be a fantastic player.
Well, he already is. I'll go as far
he already is a great player.
He is going to be, based on what I'm seeing at the moment, he's probably going to go on to become the best British product of his generation. I've seen enough of him to already make that decision. I've not seen anybody in that age bracket who has played the positions he's played this season. He's played scrum half, he's played standoff, he's played wing, he's played centre, he's played fullback. He's a natural rugby league talent, this kid.
I agree 100%. But my point being that the commentators on Sky were talking him up almost from kickoff. You wouldn't have thought there was another player on that pitch. And then Castleford win, and suddenly Maloney is man of the match, who hadn't been talked about. And I'm thinking, Maloney kicked the kicks and was instrumental in that comeback, but there were some massive performances from that Catalan pack. Cassiano, for instance.
Oh, Cassiano's huge.
Great to have given Cassiano the man of the match. Yeah. Suddenly it goes from Wellesby, who was nailed on man of the match when they were 18, 20 points up in that game. There was no other, and I think I called it when you said for those extra points, who's your man of the match going to be? I called it as Wellesby. Because I think this is the same. This is the same with Morgan Knowles.
I think Cassiano would have. Yeah, you're right. I think Cassiano would have been in contention for the man of the match. I think his sin binning probably just went against him in that game.
Maybe, but who has? There have been plenty of man of the match winners where they've been sin bin.
Yeah.
In the past, but again, it's watching the name, not watching the game. That we kind of the pundits are kind of getting out. Like you say, Morgan Knowles on his day. But 13 games, has he done better than?
Don't get me wrong. If he weren't injured, he'd have played them all. But this is the danger with dream teams. We did our, we've already posted what our Super League team of the week last week actually was, and we got a few pelters. But actually, no, it's based on the week's performances. I mean, I know we've got a whole lot of Hull FC fans, but I feel like doing 2 teams of the week, one that's a proper one and the 1 to 13 who started for Hull, because it's just like, come on, do me a favour. we've all got rose tinted glasses. I get that.
Oh God, yeah.
Come on, if you see a proper performance from a player that's not in your shirt, you've got to tip your hat to him. And of course, I mean, it's the same there with, we looked at all those different dream teams. I've got no issue with, like Meekins getting a call out and Kai Pearce-Paul getting a call out and, Kane Lynette at Hull KR in second row.
Yeah.
I've got no issue with that. I really haven't, because it's about opinion. But when you are doing what, for example, that Morgan Knowles one is, where actually there's just no logic to the decision of putting them in the side.
It does make you wonder whether, that. Now I've got to be careful because I might be insulting people, but whether Morgan Knowles is the only player they've heard of who plays loose forward, so they automatically put him there because of the press coverage that these players get. Well, on Sky, I say press coverage. That's minimal at best.
Well,
but
like
I mean, Gudemond. I mean, I've been impressed with Gudemond. The Catalan pack has been impressive all round this season.
All season.
Say McIlaurin was out for a good chunk of it through suspensions and injury. You're always going to get it with McIlaurin, aren't you? But yeah, Morgan,
this was
there he is.
This was
Morgan Knowles.
This was the team, because he was again. So it's not that I've got anything against Morgan Knowles. Last week, Morgan Knowles in the Leeds game was his team of the week all day long. All day long. Yeah. Ryan Braley, brilliant. I mean, again, that was interesting because I got a bit of a pelt off. I think it was a Saints fan saying it should have been Lachlan Coote. How come Ryan Braley's got it? Well, the fact that he scored a hat-trick and kicked 3 goals to give Lee their second win of the season probably just got the nod. Come on. Go and have a look at the game anyway. But
what's
Tommy
the game, not the name.
Exactly. Tommy Makinson, Ken Seow again. Thornley, good game for Lee. Sean Kenny Dowell, George Williams. I mean, that's open to debate, George Williams, but I think the fact that yet again, he scored 2 drop goals now for Warrington, one against Leeds, then against Salford to get them to, the 4 points. He's been the difference.
He scored 2 actually.
Yeah, in the game,
Salford game,
obviously the drop goal that got us the win in the end as well. Won it twice, but absolutely, George Williams gets it. I mean, Mikey Lewis, brilliant performance for Hull KR. Walmsley, don't need to say anything there. Adam Sidlow, good performance for Lee. Matt Parcell, Sam Stone again. Got pelters for Sam Stone.
Yeah,
but actually, when
he had a good game
performance, he was phenomenal in that game.
Yeah, he was.
The lad, he scored a try. He made a try. He did 141 meters. He made 30 tackles. And when you compare, and Kane Lynette, this is a young kid. You look at Kane Lynette's performance next to him. There's not an awful. He actually outperformed Kane Lynette.
I mean, Kane Lynette has gone under the radar this season. He's had a superb season. He's been one of the performers for Hull KR this season. Kane Lynette,
absolutely,
and doesn't get the plaudits. Doesn't get the plaudits that he should. And again, it's all down to the name and not the game.
Yeah,
I keep saying I've said that a lot, but a lot of the players get praised simply because of who they are, not what they do. A lot of the time, and that can be quite annoying. I mean, to be honest, Dave, you could have just put one name, Alex Walmsley, as team of the week. Because I think Alex Walmsley would have beat most teams on his own after that performance the other night.
Walmsley was unbelievable. In terms of the top performers, Braley, Lewis Dodd, 2 assists in the Saints game, Nathan Peets as well. Walmsley, 275 metres as a prop forward. Absolutely phenomenal. Gudemond, who you mentioned, 54 tackles in that game against Huddersfield. And Lachlan Coote got 6 out of 7 goals in the game as well. So those were the top performers. Before we look ahead to the week ahead, because there's something else I just want to go through as we move towards the playoffs and the week ahead. But let's just take a quick look at how the charts are. Should get the old top of the pops theme, the Wizard Paul Hardcastle. Get that on there,
no, get the
pop pickers, do that one. Yeah, we could do that, couldn't we?
Can't believe I just sang live on air.
But Ken Seow, who'd have thought that? Start of the season, going into the last round of the regular season, and Ken Seow leads at 17 tries. I mean, you look down there, I know for Haji has been out for Catalan, he stands a chance. Mamo, they're going to be involved during the playoffs. Hull KR potentially involved in the playoffs. It'd be interesting to see if Ken Seow remains there. But well done, Ken Seow. Well done, Kensio.
And Jake Bibby's disappeared without a trace.
He has.
He led it for a long, long time, Jake. I meant to say this last week. But Jake Bibby led that try scoring chart for the weeks at the start of the season and seems to have kind of, sunk without a trace recently.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of there's a big group behind there, actually. Wellesby, Bibby, Tom Davis, Kane Lynette.
Yeah.
And Adam Swift.
I mean, you've got to praise Ryan Hall. You've got to give Ryan Hall some credit.
Absolutely.
He didn't have the best of times in Australia. But got fair play to him. He's proved he's still got it at however old he is now. But Hull KR, I think some people scoffed at them bringing Ryan Hall back, but he certainly repaid.
Master stroke. Mate, every good squad has a good mix of experience and youth, doesn't it? That's where it is. Try assist, Josh Drinkwater extending his lead now. I mean, you've got to say that's some lead. 7 assists ahead now of Jake Connor in second. Tompkins, Jackson Hastings, and Lachlan Coote. Josh Drinkwater going to be a hard man to catch on that particular chart. Top meters, Tom Davis still there. Liam Farrell, but look at the bottom. A prop forward fires in there. Alex Walmsley's 275 meters last week now puts him in 5th overall for the season. That's a phenomenal effort. I
think Alex Walmsley is somebody who, when we eventually play in the World Cup, he's somebody who will genuinely frighten the Aussies. Alex Walmsley, I think if we could get another Alex Walmsley in the England front row.
Will he get Man of Steel?
I don't know.
No, well, we'll probably talk about that next week. But as we get closer to the 4th of October, we may start talking about contenders and what our thoughts are on that. But you know what? I think he's certainly in contention. Top tacklers, Sam Powell. Look at that. Wigan, 2 of the Wigan players. Sam Powell
still, he's been top of that. He's back. Almost all season.
Yeah, Danny Houghton, he's now in 3rd. Luke Yates, as we've said, brilliant defensively this season. And there he is, Jay Pitts, the Wakefield Trinity player
of the year
and fans player of the year in the top tackling charts.
And funny enough, Sam Powell's not in anybody that wasn't in any of those dream teams as a hooker. No,
not as hooker. No.
You can say Daz Clark, you can say whoever, but Sam Powell, he was out for a few weeks, and I don't think he dropped out the top 2 in that top tackling.
No.
Yes, you expect more from your hooker, but blimey, that's he's been top of that chart all season. Sam Powell
absolutely
deserves some credit for that. He
does indeed, without question. He's been there, and of course, don't forget, had a couple of weeks out injured as well, which makes it even more.
3 or 4 weeks was he was out quite a while.
So it did really well. Right, here's one for you then. So we're now coming into this week, last week of the regular season. Tell you what's really, really interesting. Really interesting. The differences in approach that the coaches have taken, especially the top 2. If you take a look at the squads that Catalan and St. Helens have picked for this weekend, you'll see that Catalan pretty much business as usual. Of course, they're going to get a week off next week anyway.
Yeah.
However, St. Helens, as you can see there, resting a lot of players. No Makinson, no Coote, no Nagama in there. Obviously, good to see that Johnny Lomax is back. They'll be delighted about that, that he's back. No Morgan Knowles, who we've spoken about a lot today. So, there's no question that St. Helens have pulled a few out. That means that some of these players will have had a 2-week rest. Now, we always talk about momentum. Is that too much? Is 2 weeks off from competitive rugby at this stage of the season a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we'll find out. But certainly, Catalan, knowing that week off is coming next week, they've decided to go business as usual.
I always think that momentum is a big thing in sport. When I'm going on to football for a minute, when Sir Alex Ferguson was at United, they had two separate teams, both capable of winning the league, and he rotated. In rugby league, you don't have that luxury.
No.
And I can understand you don't want, an injury to someone like George Williams or Alex Wellesby or Sam Tompkins that ends their season would be a disaster for these clubs going for the grand final. But we've seen it on a lot of occasions, teams having that week off and not getting to the grand final. Saints a couple of years ago against Warrington, when Saints actually beat us in the first game of the playoffs at our place, got the week off, and then we went there and we beat them and got to the grand final. There's a lot to be said for momentum.
Well, there is, and again, what I'm really pleased with from an integrity perspective is Wigan and Warrington, because if you actually look at their squads going into this game, hopefully, can you see them, Greg?
Yeah, I can.
Wigan and Warrington, obviously, I don't know if Toby King's got a knock at Warrington.
Yes, he's injured. Toby King is injured.
Yeah. So, but if you look at that there, Warrington pretty much, the squad that have been knocking about the last few weeks, same as Wigan. Obviously, Wigan, there's a couple of gaps, probably through injury, and of course this year, we know that Bevan French is number one, he's gone. We know that Marshall's picked up a knock. We know that. Oh, dearie me, remind me, the kid that has had to, Manfredi has had to retire.
Manfredi,
So these two teams would have been forgiven maybe this week, giving quite a lot of their first string players the week off, because of course they're not going to get a week off, but they've chose actually, no, we're gonna pick strong squads for the game.
I think this is because I think Steve Price, and I think especially with us playing Castleford, recognises the importance possibly in the mind games battle, winning that game against Castleford, because we may well be playing them in the first knockout round. And I think Castleford have played well against us this season.
I think we beat Cass. They're gone.
They could still finish sixth, depending on other results. I think, can't they? Even if they lose.
You know what? Let's have a look at the league. Let's see what's going on.
This is how it should be. There should still be places up for grabs in the top six in the last week of the season.
So if you look at the league, that's the league. Castleford sit outside the top six. So if Warrington beat Cass, they're gone.
Sorry,
so
I thought Castleford was sixth for some reason.
No, they have to win. So Hull KR Leeds, whoever wins that, definitely through, and then it's all about the Warrington Castleford game. I mean, from a Warrington perspective. And a Wigan, I mentioned about KR. I think KR are dangerous. I really do. But yeah, it'd be interesting. That's the league, of course, all to play for. We said last week it's going to be 2 from 3. For me, looking at the squad that Price has picked, I mean, I know that they picked McShane, Castleford. I don't think he's fully fit, but they have to roll the dice. They can't not roll the dice.
I think that is the last throw of the dice, and they've got to be careful. They don't do any sort of serious damage to McShane.
Long term, I agree. So for me, I think the league table will finish the way it currently is. I actually think Hull KR will beat Leeds. I do. I don't know why. I just do, and we'll come to predictions in a minute. But I don't know. I just think Hull KR could potentially beat Leeds, and Leeds could be the team that Warrington are playing. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
Well, it's going to be an interesting few days.
It is going to be an interesting few days. It most certainly is. And it all kicks off on Sky tomorrow night when Castleford take on the Warrington Wolves at the Jungle, which is definitely going to be Darryl Powell's final game at the Jungle as Castleford Tigers coach before he goes to Warrington. So these are the fixtures: Castleford Tigers, Warrington Wolves, Leeds Rhinos, Hull KR, Salford taking on a depleted St Helens, Wigan Warriors going up against the Catalan Dragons, Wakefield Trinity, Hull FC, and then finally Huddersfield Giants will be taking on the Leeds Centurions. They are the games that we've got to look forward to this week, round number 25. So we'll kick off with a game at the Jungle, Castleford Tigers versus Warrington Wolves. Our guest this week, Claire Evans. Claire Evans is a Hull KR fan who has kindly accepted the invitation to do the predictions. So before we go into this, let's take a look at the predictions league. There it is. I'm, as you can see,
I had one a nightmare I've had last 2 weeks.
It's nip and tuck. There's only 3 in it. All to play for still, with a round of rugby league to go, and of course we'll carry on into the playoffs as well. So Castleford Tigers, obviously defeated by Hull KR last time round, won 3 out of the last 5. So too have Warrington. Yet Warrington on a 2-game winning streak going into this one with the Castleford Tigers. How do you see this one, Greg?
Again, this is going to be a hard week to predict, I think. Just as it was hard to kind of choose a team of the week because of various things we've discussed. I hate to say this, I think Castleford are going to win that one.
Okay.
I think Castleford by 9-17, and that, as a Warrington fan, I hate to say that, but I hope I'm wrong, but I just think between 9 and 17, Castleford, I think they'll be the more desperate team to win.
I think before,
and they kind of got a bit of a thing on us this season, Castleford as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously cup and obviously that opening game of the season. I can see where you're going with that. I mean, look, Claire's gone 9-17 the wire. I've gone 0-8 the wire, and the only reason I've gone the wire on this is the squad. I think had it been a little bit more depleted, then maybe they've gone Cass. But I just think Cass are running out of juice. I don't know. Might be wrong. We'll see.
That squad could be a little bit deceiving. It could be a bit deceptive. It could very well start with Doro instead of Cooper or Hill, and
he could do. But
this is why it's so difficult to predict.
I do think though he will start Williams and Widdop, because I think that again, the more they play, I think they need as much game time together as they can. So I think the halfback combination. I'd be amazed if it weren't Williams and Widdop for this game to just try and get a bit of continuity between them. But anyway, we will see. Another great, great game on Friday. I mean, unlike the Warrington one, where actually, do you know what? One of the teams, it is what it is. It's winner takes all in terms of playoff. This is what it's all about. Leeds Rhinos taking on the Hull KR. Hull KR currently on a 2-game winning streak. Leeds Centurions and the Casper Tigers. Leeds, of course, losing out last week to St. Helens in pretty poor form. But in the same spirit as we said about Catalan, Saints bouncing back from Catalan. Leeds, can they bounce back from what was a real hammering against Saints?
They can't tackle as poorly as that 2 weeks on the trot. You would think. Yeah. I mean, that was a desperately the Wellesby try. It was like 5-year-olds trying to stop him. I don't wish to be offensive there to 5-year-olds, but it was just poor defence. But again, who's the more desperate? I think Hull KR will be the more desperate. Right. And I can see Hull KR 0-8 winning that.
I'll tell you what's been really interesting. I've gone the same. I've gone KR 0-8. Claire's gone Leeds 9-17. I think Tony Smith has been very clever in his pre-game interview, bigging up Leeds. He's giving great plaudits to Richard Agar. Good managers know how to play the mind game. I think he might have looked.
My opinion on Tony Smith.
Leeds Rhinos. The fact that he's talking about Leeds Rhinos and maybe being able to go on and win the comp based on last week's performance, no way. That's almost saying that they're going to beat us. He's going for the underdog status, and I think that could be a masterstroke. And the other side of this as well is, Tony Smith has been here and done it. Richard Agar hasn't. So coaching's really important in this one for me as well.
Tony Smith is, my opinion of Tony Smith. I still think he's the best coach in Super League. I think you're spot on there. But, knowing Leeds, they could very well go all the way.
Yeah. Could well. They've done it before, but to be fair, that was an awesome generation of rugby league players. I'm not so sure on this occasion. Salford Red Devils taking on St. Helens. Unlucky against Warrington. I would argue, I would be interested to know Salford's views on this, but that was probably one of their better performances of the season, I would have thought.
They played well. I could say they could and should have beaten us. Yeah. Saints again fall into the trap that I think Warrington fell into of underestimating Salford and playing and insulting them really with a weakened team. And Saints doing the same, but I can see the same. I can see this. I can see this. I can see the same kind of result. I think Salford will push them, but I think Saints probably not to 8 Saints. I think Walmsley again. If they start with Walmsley, that he's worth a whole pack by himself, and Alex Walmsley. They've got to watch that Walmsley doesn't get injured. I mean, he's in the squad. Walmsley's in the squad, and
Yeah.
if Walmsley gets injured, I know Saints. Yeah. Again, watch the game, not the name. Yeah. I know that they're not one-man team, but blimey, he's in the squad.
Walmsley's in there, mate. He's in there.
I've got to watch he doesn't get injured.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone Saints 0-8. Claire's gone Saints 9-17. Okay. But I wouldn't be surprised if that one did actually go the other way, but we'll see. Wigan, decent. To be fair to Wigan, they picked a good squad there. Catalan, again, picked the strongest squad going into this game. Catalan, we've given them superlatives all season. Wigan at home, not their. Is it their final game? Isn't it? It will be their final game at home this season. It will. Is it? Have they got a home game? No, they'll have a home game in the playoffs, won't they?
Of the regular round,
the regular rounds, yeah. So they're going to be okay there. But Wigan will want to lay down a marker here that they're in the fight. There's no question about that.
There's two things with this game. Wigan will want to end the regular season on a high because they've taken a battering this season off. Their own fans, other fans of other clubs, pundits, commentators alike, they've taken a battering for some of their performances, and rightly so. It's not the Wigan standard that we're used to.
I agree.
And Catalan, will their mindset be in a blood and thunder or all or nothing performance, having secured the league leaders' shield? I think Wigan by 9-17.
Do you? Right. Well, I think
Wigan 9-17.
You can't go into a rugby league game, can you? Not giving you all, because that's when you
do
get injured.
And that's what worries me, that Catalan might kind of. No disrespect, it's human nature. They're guaranteed a home game. They've got the trophy. They've got the silverware. Will they be a bit too relaxed? I think they might well be, and I see Wigan 9-17.
Right. Well, I've gone Catalan 9-17, as too as Claire. So there's a bit of a difference of opinion there.
So that's me. That's me rooted firmly at the bottom then.
Right. We then go off to Wakefield. Wakefield Trinity taking on Hull FC. No real surprise there from a Hull KR. Interesting, actually. A Hull. Do you know what? I've just noticed something. Really surprised there. I think Claire's going the same way as Tony Smith, because she's actually backed against her team.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's... Well, I've backed against my team this week. Sometimes you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, true. Plus, there's actually no surprising has gone Wakefield. No surprises there against Hull FC. So at least half the picture's right from a Claire perspective. She's gone Wakefield 9-17. I've gone Hull FC by 0-8. I actually think Hull in this one, they were poor against. They were poor against Wigan. Hull are on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah,
they have to win this game. They cannot possibly end the season on a 5-game losing streak. If there's any, and when you look at these two squads side by side, there's no way that Hull should be finishing the season on a 5-game losing streak. So I think this is going to be quite telling.
And I think that would very well be the thing that trips Hull up, the desperation.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get that, Dave?
Yeah. Go on.
All right. Sorry. You froze as well. So I think that could be the thing that trips Hull up, the desperation to win. Wakefield are on a hiding to nothing. They were beaten by Lee, the bottom club. They'll be stinging from that. I'm going Wakefield 0-8.
Trinity 0-8.
I've got nothing to lose, have I? I'm going to get the wooden spoon if I don't push my neck out.
Yeah, nothing. Well, exactly. And to be fair, this week, I mean, you stand alone in the first one. You agree with me, but actually you differ with the fans on the second one. We're all in Saints. However, there's a difference between you and the fans. The Wigan game, you stand alone back in Wigan. In this game, you agree with Claire in terms of Wakefield, but a different score. So you know what? Yeah. You're giving yourself the chance, mate. There's no question. That brings us to Huddersfield Giants, Lee Centurions again. Dare I say it? Sorry, Huddersfield fans, but based on the season, best chance Lee have got of winning games, Salford, Wakefield, Huddersfield. Can they get 3?
Huddersfield have let me down badly this season. They were my tip right at the start to surprise people. The signings they made, the coach they brought in, I did really think they were going to finish in the top 6.
Yeah.
They've let me down badly.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they don't. I'm going for a Huddersfield 9-17 win.
Oh, we're in agreement there. Claire's gone 0-8. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Claire's gone 0-8. So actually, interestingly, that's frightening. Oh no, sorry, no, because we've got 2 different teams there. So actually, no. In fact, there's a lot of variation between me and you this week, which is good. There's only a couple of games we agree on them, so that's good. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this week pans out. I think it's going to be a lottery based on what's going on. But I'm really looking forward to that Leeds Hull game. I just hope that delivers because that's knockout rugby. It's knockout rugby.
Yeah.
Quick mention to the NRL games. I thought the NRL games at the weekend were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Great matches.
Gold point was.
I mean, Souths, mate, against Penrith.
Yeah,
mate, I'm over the moon with that. Didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, but I don't know how they beat Penrith. Don't know how they kept them out. I really don't know how they kept them out that last few minutes.
Their defence, the Souths' defence in that game was amazing, absolutely amazing. It really was. They played some absolutely phenomenal rugby league.
Fair play.
Yeah, and the Gold Coast Titans, how close! Oh,
that was heartbreaking, wasn't it?
Oh, dearie me.
I would like to see Gold Coast Titans go through.
Justin Holbrook's done a great job there.
Yeah,
he's done a great
something
job.
Different.
Yeah, I mean, he went over there, obviously, left Saints, went back. He's done a phenomenal job at the Gold Coast Titans this year. I mean, how they didn't score a try in that final few seconds, I will never know. But I think it's a testament to the job that Holbrook has done that he got him within a pass of getting them through, which was absolutely to his credit.
And I was talking about the World Cup before with Walmsley, actually capable of scaring the Aussies. When you think of the backs that the Aussies are going to be bringing over with, just the backs alone, I can't see them losing a game unless they rest players.
No,
they're just phenomenal. Pappenhausen.
I can't remember a time where the Australian national team has got so much depth of quality. The quality in that squad.
Yeah,
it's and do you know what?
Tedesco, Pappenhausen, Latrell Mitchell. It's just
Tommy Turbo. Cleary.
Yeah.
Oh, it just goes on and on and on and on. Mitchell Moses at the weekend. Mitch Moses at the weekend, phenomenal try.
Adokar, Ferguson, the wingers.
Mate, the list goes on. Absolutely frightening. But hey, look on the bright side. We got the chance to see him live. Hopefully, which we can always say that we saw them playing a World Cup.
Well, I had tickets for the World Cup final this year, so I'm a bit disappointed. I'm hoping they're honoured. I'm sure they will be next year. So hopefully get to see the Aussies in the flesh.
Let's hope so. In terms of what's coming, then obviously Castleford, Warrington tomorrow should be a good game. A lot of goodbyes being said potentially at Castleford tomorrow night. Friday, brilliant. Manly Sea Eagles take on the Sydney Roosters, 10 to 11 in the morning. That should be a brilliant game. That's on Sky Sports Arena. And then, of course, the one we've spoke about, Leeds Rhinos taking on Hull KR again, Sky Sports Arena, a 7:45 kickoff there. And then on Saturday morning, great game. I do fear for Parramatta. I think the Penrith Panthers will be a little bit hurt by that defeat to South Sydney.
That game is too that game is too close to call, I think.
It is.
I mean, both had great starts, Parramatta and Penrith, and kind of tailed off a little bit from what I can remember. But yeah, I think I'll be watching that definitely.
So, if we've just got a couple of extra seconds, just as we are now getting to the business end of the Super League season, just want to finish a little bit different tonight in terms of a look forward, the race to the grand final. We've got We've got a week of the regular season to go, of course, but just put this one together. Interesting, real interesting one. Now, base this on Lomax and Welsby playing in the halves for St Helens.
Yeah.
Well, this is the halfback combinations of the top three. Forgive me, Wigan Warriors fans. Forgive me. This could come back to bite me, but I do think if there's any outsider of making the grand final over and above the Catalan Dragons and Saints, it possibly is Warrington. I do think everything points to a Catalan Saints final, but Warrington maybe, just maybe, stand a chance. When you look at this, I mean, George Williams, since he's come to Warrington, 3 tries, 2 assists, 3 drop goals, been instrumental. But when you actually look at the 3 side by side, by looking at it this way, you start to appreciate the different ways these halfbacks play the game. You know, Catalan, you know, not really breaking the line. You know, the likes of Widdop, the like of Williams, they like to take the line on, they like to tackle bust, they like to get the clean breaks going. Whereas the, you know, Drinkwater and Maloney, you know, not so much. You know, that they play very much conventional rugby league. You know, just get through a lot of hard graft and work. And of course, you know, I think the Saints guys are a little bit in the middle in terms of the way they play the game. And I think, you know, the thing that's probably taking your eye there is the points per game. Now, of course, what we've got to factor into this is the fact that Maloney kicks. If we take the kicks out, it's 9.3, plays 9.28, plays 8.33 and climbing at the Wolves. It's an interesting one to look at. It, like I say, it does tell you how these halfbacks prefer to play. Warrington, without question, they're a running pair of halfbacks. Tackle busts, you know, you look at the clean breaks, you look at the, I mean, not just that, they're busy as well. I mean, that's an interesting one. The carries between the Catalan boys, 11.85 plays 24 and 20.35. So, you know, the Warrington and the St Helens team, they're certainly getting involved a lot more than the Catalan boys. But of course, the Catalan boys, they've been the best all year.
Yeah. And that to me says Catalan have relied a lot more on the big guys up front to make the meters for them. You know, and when you're thinking of St Helens side, you've got our friend Alex Walmsley, we've waxed lyrical about all night. That does say a lot. But then again, you've got Alex Walmsley who's punching holes in defence and creates the space for them to run into and make those carries. So, you know,
it's interesting.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Widdop and Williams have been together 4 or 5 games, maybe.
Well, Williams have played 6. I don't know how many times Widdop has played alongside him. But I mean, in terms of Williams,
I think there's a game where they didn't play together. I'm sure Warrington fans will correct me on that.
I mean, Williams since he's come, you know, it's interesting actually because Williams since he's come, he carries the ball approximately just over 10 times a game. 13 tackle busts in his 6 games, scored 3 tries, 2 assists, 3 drop goals. I think the thing from a Warrington perspective, if Warrington stand any chance of getting to the grand final, I think it's going to be very dependent on Widdop and Williams. The same, I don't think the same can be said for Catalan and Saints. I think Catalan and Saints, it's a bit all over, it's a bit of everywhere.
I think the fact that Dodds and Osby have been the halfback combination for the last few games shows how reliant Saints are on more of a team performance, if you like, and that the fact that the Catalan pair have had less carries shows their reliance on their pack. So, you know, Saints all-round performance, Catalan let the pack do the work, Warrington reliant on the halfbacks. You know, that's. Or so it would seem. So, definitely different ways of looking at it, isn't there?
Yeah, I think. I mean, what we know about Warrington is certainly you look at this season. Mamo, King in the centres, their breaks, the line breaks have been critical for Warrington this season. From a lot of the time from the backs. Whereas, you know, you've seen in Saints, you know, the damage that Walmsley does. He often puts them on that front foot to then go on and do it. And we've seen very similar at Catalan.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I think of, and no disrespect here, because, you know, I don't wish to insult any rugby league player, but you'd have to say that the Saints and the Catalan packs are superior to the Warrington pack. I don't think anybody disagrees with me on that one. And that's maybe, again, a case of why our halves are carrying the ball more. You know,
Warrington are going to, I mean, obviously, Warrington have beat Catalan twice this season. And of course, the Saints games have gone another way. And I think that, you know, Warrington's defence is critical in this playoff series. Critical. If they can be, I mean, that game at St. Helens this year, where it was, I think it was 6-2.
6-2.
Is it 6-2? Defence was
6-2 or 8-2.
And the same can be said at Wigan. The defence, phenomenal. You know, so that's going to be the critical bit. But as you know, same as next week, we might look at some other stuff. But it's interesting to see the different styles of the halfbacks and how critical these halfbacks are going to be. And I do think that Welsby will play halfback from now until the end of the season. I could be wrong. He might put Dodd in, but something tells me, because of the amount of rugby Welsby has played, because they've got cover in the centre positions and the wing positions and the fullback position, I think he may just go, well, Welsby's my man at standoff or scrum half, and I think that's what could happen. So we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's our longest ever, I think, an hour and a half. But you know what? There was lots to talk about. It was good fun. We hope everybody's enjoyed it as usual. We will be back next week. We may have a special guest. We'll put more information out on the feed later in the week. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Please try and join us. Enjoy your rugby league, Greg. Final word with yourself.
Enjoy your rugby league, guys. Big week. Looking forward to it. Next week, we'll know exactly who's playing who.
And we can be mouth-wateringly looking forward to those fixtures as well.
Indeed.
So from both of us, take care, everybody. Enjoy your rugby league. See you next week.
Thanks for joining us. See you soon, guys.